Let's do it.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Bitter Betty podcast. This is Bitter Betty Reacts, and our first ever Bitty Betty Reacts is going to be to Tom MacDonald's Scary Stories, and I am exceptionally excited for this because my cohorts are here with me, Carol and Deadhead, and Deadhead has never heard the Scary Story before, and I'm not going to lie, me and Carol have, but I'm so excited for her to hear this because who doesn't love a good scary story? So, who's excited?
Me,
I'm very excited.
As much action I've had in my own life, like you'd think I would have ran to this, but I kept seeing it and just kept scrolling over it. Like, give me the music. That's all I wanted.
Right? No, well, it's so much fun to watch this stuff with friends, right? Like,
right. Well, when I
love
started
a good scary
getting
story.
into Tom's Discord and learning that he is a really good storyteller besides his music, that's when I was like, dude, I've got to go listen to all these things.
Definitely.
And those of you that are new to the channel, we all met through Tom MacDonald's Discord.
Yes.
And we are the best of friends now. And we love each other. We love Tom. We love the Discord.
100%.
Shout out to the Discord.
We're
not here.
Always
yes.
blood.
I love
HOG forever.
Thank you, Tom, for having us in your Discord.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Tom, we would not be here. So, and also shout out Nova because
I would say if it wasn't for Nova, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
She told me I wouldn't be cool if I didn't join her Discord, and that led me to Tom's.
Yeah. And if you have not joined Tom MacDonald or Nova Rockefeller's Discord, please go join right now because we are one big happy family and we love to support each other and we have the most fun. And if you want to actually hit up Tom MacDonald or Nova Rockefeller and actually talk to them one-on-one and ask your questions and have them be answered, that's the place to do it. The Discord, we have so much fun. And you build lifelong friendships.
We can attest. The real Tom, he's in that Discord. He will say hey, he says what up. Great, wholesome guy.
He sends selfies. It's like proof. We tell him to send a picture with 2 fingers and he does it.
Once in a blue moon, if you're lucky enough to catch him in voice chat, sometimes he pops in there. There's times he's popped in there just to tell us that we suck and left.
Literally. I love my Tom interactions. Good Lord. He don't really mean it. The person you see online is absolutely the person he is behind the scenes. Absolutely. I can attest to that.
Very true. Very true.
I just want to know, can I get that feature?
Yeah, right.
Trying to get that feature.
Hashtag if you know, you
We're
know.
featuring you. No.
If you know, you know.
Tom, I need that feature, man. I'm trying to be famous.
Well, we're going to talk about what led us to this video today. So we were talking about some, different paranormal activity between the 3 of us. And we're like, hey, Tom's video, that would be a good thing to check out since Deadhead hasn't seen it yet. So here we are.
Sorry, Tom, I'm such a bad fan.
But it's great because it allows us to put like our first video really out there. And this is something that is going to be so much fun to react to podcast style because it's a little bit longer and there's a lot more to talk about because we all 3 have seen the video that he filmed while experiencing this ghost story. So I'm not going to say what it is. It's out there, but it shouldn't be out there, but it's out there. So
as far as we know, it shouldn't be out there.
Yeah, because it's very old. It's like,
well, look at it. If Tom didn't put it out himself, it shouldn't be out there.
Literally, though. So it's got to be at least 15 years old. I swear. Like it's got to be pretty old. So, but this is a ghost story, first-hand experience from Mr. Tom MacDonald while filming a music video, and I love a good ghost story.
Maybe he'll tell us how long ago.
100% a liar. I hate horror movies.
Yeah, Tom, if you're seeing this, you know what we're talking about. So, tell us how long ago if you see this, please.
It was apparently very long ago because.
Yeah.
So, but this is, and I believe this is the house they were in before they are in the house that they're in now. So this video even was a little bit. It was.
I could say this. I've seen their kitchen. They've done
because this was this was the kitchen from the famous video.
Yes.
When was this? Let's see. 3 years ago.
What? Really?
I think it was 3 years ago. It has to be longer than that. I feel like.
I feel like maybe when he first blew up, they were in a different house, and then they were here, and then they bought their house that they're in now. So, I think that their current house might be the third house since, but I could be wrong. But
maybe, yeah.
I'm just thinking of like background, like what we're seeing, but I don't know that to be true.
Their little kitchen here reminds me of my little kitchen now.
Yeah. It's a cute kitchen though.
It is a cute kitchen. I'm not saying nothing bad. It's just mine's a little creepier.
Mine's a little creepier. That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Because you got pots and pans flying at you.
Well, so I wonder, like, I think this is the kitchen. This might be the kitchen that they were living in when they were on Crenshaw.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Know. I wonder because they were moving in the video sellout. So
yeah, we'll have to ask Tom.
Yeah, I wonder exactly where this was because I don't know if there was someone somewhere different between Crenshaw and here.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I feel like there should have been. Maybe I don't know.
I was thinking, but maybe I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, so anybody who knows, if you've seen,
I need one of those shirts.
I know. I really want to go buy that shirt so bad.
Actually, no. Another idea. Instead of hangover game, say instead of that saying I'm so Gucci. I'm so HOG.
I'm so HOG. Tom, we got a new
get
shirt. Tom,
I'm so HOG. I'm so HOG. Look at
That'd
me.
That'd be a good girl shirt. But I want it in a man's shirt because I like the men's shirt.
I like that loose fit. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so
look at us telling Tom what to do. Yeah, right.
Are we ready for some ghost stories? Like scary stories with Tom MacDonald. This is the one and only video, even though he said there'd be more. We're still waiting. Tom, where you at? Okay.
We're acting like we're new here.
we definitely aren't. Okay, so we got Tom MacDonald scary stories. Mel has never seen. I'm sorry, Deadhead.
It's okay.
Sorry. Deadhead has never seen this. Me and Carol have, but it has been a while. So, Carol, do you remember anything from this?
I remember everything from this.
Okay, good. I remember some stuff from here.
Say that one day I was in one of Nova's lives, and she was talking a little bit about it, and then she made her little a little thing in her Discord channel where we could tell our own ghost stories.
Right.
So I did hear a little bit about it.
Because her and Tom weren't together here, right?
Correct. Well, I don't think so. No,
they weren't together here.
Because the story she told us when Tom and her were together and they were in bed. Okay, so this is a totally different story. No way.
You're in for it.
Yes, because they were
totally
different. I love that idea.
You're in for a totally big surprise, ma'am. Because
I love paranormal stories. I just don't like it when they happen to me. But go ahead.
No, 100%. Yeah. No, 100%. That makes me even more excited now because
I know
because you haven't.
I'm gonna be so busy watching Mel's reaction. I'm not gonna be watching. Deadhead's reaction.
Oh. All right. So just flag me down if you need me to pause it or whatever. But other than that, we're gonna let it roll and we will just let the chips fall where they may. You ready?
Yes,
I'm ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Scary story time.
Welcome to Ghost Stories with yours truly, Tom MacDonald. We're going to have to take a trip in the Wayback Machine for this one because this happened a long time ago.
Okay,
the year was
we said that.
Thankfully, the Mayan calendar was wrong and the much publicized end of the world didn't come. But it still got weird. Still got real.
Wait, end of the world. Is he talking about like in 2000?
No, 2012. The Mayan calendar ended in 2012, and everybody had the big conspiracy.
That makes I don't know. You know, I always think in lyrics. I'm thinking of Boom Bap 101 right now. Like, you think the year was 2012, and it really was a meteor.
Yeah, because he just said that this was way back in 2012.
Okay, way back.
Way back that was that long ago.
So,
yeah.
Well, that makes sense because his hair was hella short in that video, and it's obviously it was
keep
longer.
Your hair long.
Later on. So, okay. So we know this was definitely around the 2012 time period. Okay, cool. All right. Let's get back into it.
Wrong and the much publicized end of the world didn't come, but it still got weird. It still got really weird. This all started with a music video shoot in the small Canadian town, abandoned Canadian town of Tranquil. But it wasn't until after this whole ordeal, it wasn't until after everything that I'm about to tell you, it wasn't until after all of that that we found out that Tranquil is actually one of the most haunted places in North America. Let's start from the beginning. So there was 3 of us. There was myself, the music video director, and my producer at the time, Olivier. We all piled into a vehicle on a Friday afternoon and started the long drive to a long forgotten corner of the Canadian Pacific Northwest. We were unknowingly embarking on what would turn out to be one of the most terrifying experiences of all of our lives. Aside from a traffic jam on the highway, it was a rather long and uneventful drive. As we drew closer and closer to Tranquil, things gradually became more and more desolate. The cars that we were sharing the highway with gradually disappeared. The streetlights gave way to pine trees, and the tiny communities that just dot the edges of the asphalt were just eventually swallowed up by the suffocating Canadian wilderness. Paved roads turned to gravel, and the gravel roads turned to dirt roads, and the vast forest around us just seemed to entirely close in. And when
Can we take a minute to appreciate Tom's storytelling?
Yes, absolutely.
Why do I feel like I'm listening to an audiobook?
Because he's that good.
He is
And
so
the sound
descriptive.
effects.
The sound effect, like the descriptiveness, like that's how I like it. But I can appreciate that kind of storytelling because I would forget everything I'd want to say in that time. I'd have to have like, what do they call that? Captions or something?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like closed captions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like something to read off of. Teleprompter.
And this is all like right here, I feel like.
Yeah, I would have to have like a teleprompter to be able to do that. But so like I just want to pay homage to this storytelling right here. Okay, I'm gonna rewind a little bit. Let's get back.
Lights gave way to pine trees and the tiny community.
Wait, were you gonna say something?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say it's kind of like when you're in one of his lives and he goes on about his past. He talks about his addictions and stuff. Dude,
right,
like
100%.
He's very, very well spoken.
Anyways, no, definitely. He knows how to tell a story. Mm-hmm. And like tell a story to where you're like engaged.
You're totally engaged. And if you're not, you got problems.
Like, you just don't like storytelling if you're not engaged. 100%. Yeah, and that's what he's doing here for sure.
Long and uneventful drive. As we drew closer and closer to Tranquil, things gradually became more and more desolate. The cars that we were sharing the highway with gradually disappeared. The streetlights gave way to pine trees, and the tiny communities that just dot the edges of the asphalt were just eventually swallowed up by the suffocating Canadian wilderness. Paved roads turned to gravel, and the gravel roads turned to dirt roads, and the vast forest around us just seemed to entirely close in. And when the paved roads turned to gravel roads and the gravel roads turned to dirt roads, that's when we reached the Iron Gates. Our final destination, Tranquil, had been cut off from the rest of the world for quite some time. Essentially, Tranquil was home to Canadians who had tuberculosis. And at the time, tuberculosis was incurable and highly infectious. Sound familiar? They pretty much shipped everyone in Canada who had tuberculosis. They shipped all of those people to Tranquil, this tiny town in the middle of nowhere, and they shipped them there to, well, die, essentially. Anyway, we didn't know any of that. All we knew was we had to shoot a music video, and this was the perfect place to do it, and we were going to get it done. So there we were in the middle of nowhere. We pulled the car over to the side of the dirt road. We unpacked everything we needed, lights and cameras and bags and outfits and all that stuff. and we cut into the trees to get around the iron gate that was blocking the road, and we were on our way. So after a short hike through the trees, we came up over the top of a hill, and there it was. Just silent and still and forgotten. There were schools and houses and convenience stores and hospitals and libraries and paint chips just peeling off the outside of the exteriors of these buildings, just flapping in the wind. Just seemed like they were just clinging to a time a little less lonely. We had arrived at Tranquil. So we made our way down the hill and we crossed the train tracks that encircled the town, and there was no signs of life. And when I say no signs of life, I mean nothing. No birds, no coyotes, no bugs, nothing like what you would expect of a town encapsulated in a massive forest in the middle of nowhere. So we made our way towards the 3 dilapidated houses. They were just on the outskirts of town, and they were identical. And they sat all in a row. Same paint, same windows, same doors, same front steps. Each house as perfectly the same as the next. Anyway, as we got closer, you could practically hear these houses moaning from years of being neglected and years without maintenance. It almost felt and sounded like something was stirring around inside them. And to be completely honest, I wasn't entirely sure I wanted to find out what that something was. But it turns out that I didn't have a choice. While I was standing there just sort of lost in thought and just gripped by this almost tangible apprehension about the situation at hand, something emerged from the middle house. 2 teenage kids, and we stopped dead in our tracks. So it was this boy and this girl, and they sort of like bounced toward us across this like sun-bleached pavement, and their demeanor was weird. So they got close enough to us, and I said to the boy, I said, "What are you guys doing here?" And like I said, their demeanor was strange. Well, maybe strange isn't the right word. Their demeanor just did not fit the situation. They were just like smiling and happy, and they seemed like they were excited to see us. And to me, that didn't fit the vibe. So the boy spoke first, and he said, "We're just hanging out, just checking out the abandoned town, and we're filming it with this camcorder." And I was like, "Cool. Well, did you see anything weird?" And he said, "Nope, not yet." And then the girl just like interjected, and she was like, "Oh, be careful in the houses. Like a lot of the floors are rotting, and if you go upstairs, you could fall through, and it's really friggin' dangerous." I don't really remember much else about that conversation. It was maybe like 3 minutes long, and they darted off in the other direction, and we just continued on our way. So we went into the house that our new friends just emerged from, and the girl wasn't lying. There was a massive hole in the ceiling of the living room where it looked like something on the top floor had fallen through and landed in a giant heap of rubble just sitting on the floor in the living room. It was trippy. So the more we explored, the weirder it got. Like inside the school, there was 3 inches of dust on the desks, and the day's lessons were still scribbled on the chalkboard, and there was pencils and erasers just littered about all the workstations. And if you picked anything up, you leave a perfect impression of whatever you picked up on the surface that you picked it up off of. Like this stuff literally hadn't been touched in years. After roaming through like half a dozen buildings, we had finally made our decision where we were going to start shooting this music video. And we decided on, of course, the sanatorium. So we were walking down the main street on our way back to the hospital when I noticed something peculiar. Peculiar?
Said it right.
Peculiar?
Said it right.
When I noticed something up. There was this small white brick building that was just sort of jetting out of the dirt right on the edge of town. And we had a long day of shooting ahead of us, but Tranquil just felt like it was some sort of portal to like an alternate dimension. And we were just so captured by the mystery of this town that like work came second and we just wanted to explore. So we took off towards that white building. So this building was essentially just like a brick box. It was maybe like 10 feet tall by 20 feet long and 20 feet wide. And it had one of those big metal doors on it. It was like like something that you'd see on a government building. It was that light green color, kind of like sun bleached by the sun. It was missing its doorknobs. I walked over, no windows on this thing, can't see inside. So I walk over to this big green door and I put my hand inside where the doorknob's supposed to be, and I jerked the door open. So it was dark, and it was not the type of dark that you're familiar with. This wasn't like 1 a.m. in my house dark. This was like pitch blackness. But we're here to shoot a music video, right? So we got lights. So I grab one of the lights and I turn that motherfucker on. So when I turn the light on, there's nothing in this room. There's no windows. There's no doors. There's nothing on the walls. There's not even flooring. It's just plain concrete. It's as plain and white on the inside as it was on the outside, with the exception of one thing: a staircase going down. I'd be lying if I said we weren't scared, because we were freaked the out, man. But here's the thing about 3 dudes hanging out is none of these dudes is going to admit to any of the other dudes that they're scared, because that's not what dudes do. So we're all terrified, but nobody's going to admit that they're terrified to anybody else. So in the greatest display of masterfully fabricated machismo in the history of mankind, we go down the stairs. We are so deep in denial and so unwilling to admit that we're afraid in front of another man that we forced ourselves to go down a set of stairs into a black hole inside an abandoned town in the middle of nowhere. And you know what? I could barely comprehend what was at the bottom of those stairs. Medical equipment everywhere. X-ray machines and surgery tables and scalpels and wheelchairs and rolling beds, just everywhere, all covered in dust, untouched for years. So there's 3 walls down here, and there's a doorway on each wall. No door, just a doorway. So I shine the light through the first doorway, long concrete hall. I shine the light through the second doorway, long concrete hall. And then I shine the light through the third doorway. You guessed it, long concrete hall. Still neglecting the sheer terror that's permeating every cell in our bodies, we somehow choose a doorway, walk through it, and start our journey into the abyss. And what we found were just more concrete hallways and more wheelchairs and more rolling beds and more hallways and more doorways and more concrete halls. This was a labyrinth of underground concrete halls. And we decided it was a cool place to shoot a scene for a music video. So we started shooting a music video. I'm not even exaggerating. We probably had that camera turned on for 30 seconds before we had to turn it off, because it started getting weird. I just remember saying, "Cut the camera." Did you guys hear that? And we all just stood there, just quiet and motionless in the 10-foot section of hallway that our lights would illuminate. And I am not kidding you. Somewhere out there, beyond where our lights could reach, footsteps. I remember my producer, Olivier, just sort of laughing like, "No way. No way." We just stood there, frozen with fear. We just stood there and we just listened. And we heard voices somewhere way out there in that maze of concrete hallways, just echoing through everywhere. And I just said, "Yo, pack up the camera. Let's get the out of here now." As we're packing up to leave, I noticed that just out of our light's reach, I see a door. And it's a big ass metal one. So I squeeze past Olivier and I walk over to the door. It's this giant steel door and it's just flush with the concrete inside this hallway. And I just push it open. It's the basement of a house. I just said, yo, shine that light over here. And there's another big metal door 6 feet away. And I walk up to it and I push it open. Basement of a house. And then another door and I push that open. And it's a basement of a house. And as we walk out of this labyrinth of concrete hallways, more doors, more basements of more houses. So it was at this point that I realized that this wasn't a regular town. There was something going on here. Something that required every house in town to be accessible by these underground tunnels that all led to a massive underground medical lab. Needless to say, we needed to shoot this music video and get the hell out of there. By the time we found our way out of these underground tunnels and we reached the surface of Tranquil once again, it had gotten dark. And you know what's creepier than an abandoned town in the middle of nowhere with an underground mad scientist lab? A creepy ass abandoned town in the middle of nowhere with an underground mad scientist lab in the dark, son. That being said, the next couple hours went by rather smoothly and we got some cool shots and some cool places. We pretty much got everything we needed and had wrapped up the music video. But this is where the really haunted starts. We finish the shoot, pack up the gear, hike up the hill, sneak through the trees, go around the iron gate, and get back to the car. We've escaped Tranquil.
Oh my god, why are you not pausing?
Or so we thought.
Oh wait.
We load everything into the trunk of the car, and the director says, "Oh, I'm missing."
Okay.
There you are. I was like, wait, let's take a pause. Let's take a breath. Just because, for one, it's a long video. So we want to make sure we pause for a second just to absorb some of the things that are being said. Like,
oh my god, he's so funny. Like, it's insane.
I know we can't really talk about it, but the video that you showed us off camera earlier.
Yeah.
Is this what the video is? This the one he filmed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm sitting here trying to picture Tom in that scenario, just like that.
Yes.
Well, so
Okay.
like burn me down or burn me down or whatever it was. Like that was in that place.
Yeah. So no. And then it's just like, but could you imagine like walking into a basement and pushing a door and then there's another door and then another door and a basement after basement?
And like why?
Somebody has like
why would you
the government of that town can always go into your house anytime? No.
I
mean,
think
or anybody from anywhere.
The doctors or whatever. No.
Yeah, give it a minute, Deadhead. He explains. But yeah, no. But I would have been like, the hell am I looking at?
Yeah, no,
so,
like for sure.
Glad I don't have a basement.
Right? Me neither. Me neither. Me neither.
Oh my god. So
I live
like,
too close to sea level. Can't do that here.
Okay.
Okay.
We had a basement when I was really young. We had a basement and it was awesome, but you know.
Okay, I just wanted to pause it for just a second.
I've watched too many horror stories. I will never have a basement.
For sure. One story is all everything.
Yeah, I'm good with
You're
that.
safest in a one story.
That's what I got.
Yeah.
Not me, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm just saying. It's easier to escape the one story than it is a two story. If you're going from upstairs. That's all. All right, back to
I walk over to the door. It's this giant steel door, and it's just flush with the concrete inside this hallway. And I just push it open. It's the basement of a house. I just said, yo, shine that light over here. And there's another big metal door 6 feet away. And I walk up to it and I push it open. Basement of a house. And then another door and I push that open. And it's a basement of a house. And as we walk out of this labyrinth of concrete hallways, more doors, more basements of more houses. So it was at this point that I realized that this wasn't a regular town. There was something going on here. Something that required every house in town to be accessible by these underground tunnels that all led to a massive underground medical lab. Needless to say, we needed to shoot this music video and get the hell out of there. By the time we found our way out of these underground tunnels and we reached the surface of Tranquil once again, it had gotten dark. And you know what's creepier than an abandoned town in the middle of nowhere with an underground mad scientist lab? A creepy ass abandoned town in the middle of nowhere with an underground mad scientist lab in the dark, son. That being said, the next couple hours went by rather smoothly and we got some cool shots and some cool places. We pretty much got everything we needed and had wrapped up the music video. But this is where the really haunted starts. We finish the shoot, pack up the gear, hike up the hill, sneak through the trees, go around the Iron Gate, and get back to the car. We've escaped Tranquil, or so we thought. We load everything into the trunk of the car, and the director says, "Oh, I'm missing one of my lights.
I'm
missing a light." I'm like, "So what, dude? That light. Let's get the out of here." And the director goes, "Oh, well, it was a $1,200 light." And I said, "I don't give a I'm not going back into the creepy abandoned town in the middle of nowhere with the underground mad scientist lab. I'm not going back." And Olivier says, I'm with Tom. I'm not going back either." And the director says, "Somebody has to go back because I need that light. So let's all play rock, paper, scissors for it. And the loser goes back into the town to get the light." Look, I never liked fucking rock, paper, scissors. I hate that. When there's something that somebody has to do and it's an undesirable task, everybody's always like, "Let's play rock, paper, scissors." I fucking hate rock, paper, scissors. It's an impossible fucking game to win. I always fucking lose. We agree we'll play rock, paper, scissors. Guess what? I lose. Of course, I lose. But I'm not going back. I'm not going back. I'm acting like a child, and Olivier has always been the more mature of our sort of duo. So he stands up, and he's just sick of listening to us and complain. And he goes, "You know what? I will go back. I'll go back and get the light. Where is it?" And the director says, "It's in the sanatorium." Of course it's in the sanatorium. Where else would it be? Where else would the lost light be than the most haunted possible place in this abandoned town? It wouldn't make any sense for it to be anywhere else. Olivier goes, "Okay, cool. I'll go get the light." And with that, Olivier just turns and walks into the darkness. I turn to the director and I'm just like, "Dude, give me a flashlight." You got to understand, Olivier isn't just my producer at this point. He's my best friend. And I cannot in good conscience let my best friend wander back into an abandoned town to get somebody else's light by himself. I just can't do it. So I run to catch up with him. So I reach him and I'm like, "I got us a flashlight." And Olivier turns and looks at me and he doesn't say anything. He just smiles like a full teeth grin, like one of those smiles that somebody makes when they're terrified or when they're fully aware that they're making a very poor decision and they're about to do something really stupid. Through the forest, around the fence, up the hill, down into the valley, we are back in Tranquil. It's pitch black now, and I'm carrying this little rinky-dinky ass flashlight, and we're just navigating through the town, and we're on the way back to the sanatorium. I ask Olivier, where do you think, do you have any idea where we put this light? Olivier says, "Yeah, it's in the big main room. I saw him put it down there. I just don't like him, so I was just gonna let him leave it there and hope that nobody noticed, and we just drive home and we'd have a good chuckle about this later on." So somehow I managed to let out a muffled laugh because it's funny, but at the same time, it's the reason why I'm standing in an abandoned town in the middle of nowhere with a creepy ass mad scientist underground lab at like 2 a.m. We go up the old wooden stairs and push this giant creaky ass door open and step inside the sanatorium. And we're at the end of this long hallway. And at the end of that long hallway, there's a giant, big, massive open room. And that's where the light is. So we start walking down this hallway, and there's doorways lining this hallway, and they're all the padded rooms that crazy people would hang out in. We get into the big main room, and as we enter this big main room, I shine the flashlight up on the wall, and just like this perfect, massive piece of art up on the wall. It is painted, "Please burn me down." Olivier says, "Oh, there's the light." Walks over, picks the light up, and now that we have this all-important light in our possession, we turn and start walking back down that hallway towards the main door. Now, what happens next is probably the most horrendous thing that I've ever witnessed in my life, and I'm sure Olivier would say the same thing. In fact, I might actually call him and get his account for this video. But what happens next is the single most horrendous thing that I've ever witnessed in my life. So like I said, the hallway is lined with doors on.
Any guesses what it's going to be? Carol, you can't answer because you already know.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to say something that shouldn't be there. I don't know.
It's going to be funny. I'm just saying, but the buildup was so good. I had to just to it a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Is it going to be like a shadow figure?
I think he's saying something very important right now. If you didn't know. Oh, are you ready to find out what it is?
Huh?
Are you ready to find out what it is?
Mm-hmm.
The door. Oh, that was.
Next is probably the most horrendous thing that I've ever witnessed in my life. And I'm sure Olivier would say the same thing. In fact, I might actually call him and get his account for this video. But what happens
He never
next
did that.
is the single most horrendous thing that I've ever witnessed in my life. So like I said, the hallway is lined with doors on both sides, right? And they're like holding cells, or they're like padded rooms or something. You know the ones? Yeah, you know the ones. Now, I'm not exactly sure how to explain this. You know that feeling you get when somebody is watching you? Or you know when you see something out of the corner of your eye and you quickly turn your head and there's nothing there? Or you feel the hair raise up on the back of your neck like someone's standing behind you, but by the time you spin around to face it, it's gone? Okay, that happened to both of us at the exact same time, except something was watching us. And that thing in the corner of your eye that you don't expect to see when you look, we saw it. And that thing that you feel behind you when the hair raises up on your neck and you spin around, and when you spin around, it's gone. It was there when we spun around. In perfect synchronization, all this happened. We turn and shine the flashlight into the padded room next to us. And there it is, a shadow standing up from the floor. Not a shadow cast on the floor, a shadow standing up off the floor. It looked just like a person, except it wasn't a person. It was featureless and almost transparent and massive and daunting and rigidly standing there with its arms by its sides. You can't see from where you're at right now, but I have goosebumps all over me. And at the same time, we just started to run. And we were so scared, and it was so dark. We were just like two frantic animals running from a predator. It was like some sort of primal survival instinct had taken over, and we were just absolutely frantic, and we were falling over each other and tripping over rubble and tripping over pieces of fallen wall and ladders and all of this stuff that we can't see in the dark. And somehow we made it to the front door. We kicked that motherfucker open and ran out into the middle of the street. And we didn't stop running. We weren't even thinking. We were just moving as fast as we could, as far away from whatever the hell that thing was, as far away as we could get. As fast as we could get there, we were going. And after running for what seemed like a marathon, we just finally stopped, and we almost collapsed on the ground, and we're just spinning our heads like a swivel from side to side, just trying to orient ourselves and gain some sort of information about where we had ran to. And I'm gasping for breath and looking around, and I'd say to Olivier, "Where are we?" And Olivier says, I don't know. And I pick the flashlight up and I flash it around and I'm looking. And that's when I have another terrifying realization. And I say out loud, dude, we're lost. And I mean, we're so scared, and it's so dark, and this town is so big that we've completely lost ourselves in what's transpired here. And I remember Olivier gasping, "Oh, I think the car's that way." You know, and he just kind of points out with one hand, just totally exhausted. So I turn the flashlight in the direction that he's pointing, and I shit you not, I take one step, and this flashlight flickers twice and dies. We're lost. It's dark. We have no flashlight, and there's that thing in the sanatorium. I honestly don't remember the next 30 minutes. And I don't remember the next 30 minutes because we were just running on pure adrenaline and racked with fear. But we found our way out. And this time when we crossed those train tracks and went up that hill, before going into that forest, we turned around and we looked down on Tranquil one last time. And guess what? The lights in the sanatorium were on. So we barreled through the trees and around the iron gate and over to the car. And I remember Olivier opening up the car door, and he's leaning the front seat forward, and he's scrambling to try and get into the back seat of the car. And I had just had enough. I remember putting my foot on his ass and just shoving him into the back of the car, standing the seat up, jumped in, slammed the door, and I just said, "Drive." The director started, "Oh, what happened?" And I said, "Shut the up and drive." So we made it back home, mostly unscathed and in one piece. But you know what the craziest part of this whole thing was? You remember those kids I mentioned at the beginning of the story?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I got home, I started Googling Tranquil. And I started researching that abandoned town. And that's when I found out that Tranquil was an abandoned town where people with tuberculosis would go and live out their final days. That's when I found out it was the most haunted place in North America. And that's also when I found out that those underground tunnels were used to remove the dead bodies from their houses without having to wheel corpses through the streets of the town and scare the shit out of all the children and everybody else living there. But the scariest thing that I found out was that 10 years prior to our experience in Tranquil, 2 kids went out there ghost hunting. And they fell through the floor in one of the houses and died. A boy and a girl.
Oh, I have goosebumps again.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say the boy and the girl in there. Sorry. I was going to say the boy and the girl were like kids that were actually from the place, but so that was different.
Yeah. That's a good story, though.
That is a very good story.
He's such a good
When the way
storyteller.
Tom told it, it's like I could actually see myself there with him.
Yeah,
well,
like
yeah,
you can picture
and
it.
then especially after seeing like the video, like in the
And when he said about seeing something out of the corner of your eye and it's not there, that happened to me last night, by the way.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, share.
I was sitting right here where I'm at right now. I was on the computer in HOG voice chat. Again, if you're not part of Discord, join it. And I'm like, I kind of do this. And when I'm sitting there, I'm kind of sitting back like this. And then the kitchen's like right there. Like I can see it. And I'm looking at the chat. And then I seen something like run by. And I look. And I thought maybe it was my daughter. And I didn't see nothing. And then I told everybody I'd be back. And I went into the kitchen. And that's when the pot flew at me.
What?
Yeah.
A pot flew at you?
A pot. This has been going on since we moved in. Like,
what?
First, my son had the same that pot that came at me last night. That pot was thrown at him our first week here.
What?
And then a couple nights ago, I had the frying pan thrown at me.
Shut up.
Yeah, it was up on a drying rack, but it was tight in there. There's no way it just flew out. Because we've been going back and forth constantly all day, and that thing's been sitting in there, and it ain't moved. It ain't budged. But I'm standing in one spot, not even moving, and it goes flying at me. No, something's weird.
Well, I had one experience ever, and that was I was really young, and I was staying the night at my best friend's house, and I mean, it was known that her house was like haunted, I guess, but it was always upstairs that things would happen. And so we were alone in the house, and it was just me, her, our other friend Kelsey, and her sister. And like her sister was in this one room, and all of a sudden the door like slammed shut, like, and nobody else was in the house. And so like we ended up opening the door, and then we ran into the room, and then it shut again, and then we couldn't open it again. Like, it was a whole thing. I never went upstairs again. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, this house has been pretty active the last few days. And I know I need to stage it.
Do you know any history about your house?
Like, I was told there was a old lady who does not like women that died in this house.
What? She don't like women?
She don't like women.
That's weird.
And the other day, my studio light here in my beauty room was on the floor, and it's very sturdy. It's not gonna just fall over. Someone would have to literally push it or knock into it or something for it to fall over.
That's crazy.
I was asleep, and I heard a bang, and it woke me up. And I checked the whole house, and I thought maybe my daughter got up or something. She was up, but she was sitting on the couch playing on her tablet. And came in my beauty room, and I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, and I have a Aaron Rodgers bobblehead, not bobblehead, but like one of the pop collector thingies. He's in a box, and that he was way over here close to my computer when he's on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
And my light was flipped right side up with the lights facing upwards, and it was laying on the floor, and it was even like it was scooted closer to my computer chair, sitting up. And then and I was forced to take my Christmas tree down because it got knocked over that day.
I saw that.
Yeah. It was a very active day.
Are you serious?
It was so
active. Crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And everybody keeps saying, "Are you scared?" I'm not scared of it. That's the thing. I don't even get chills or nothing. Like, it's not scaring me. Yeah. But I guess because I'm used to, I've had this stuff happen to me like so much in my life, and I watch paranormal. Like, it's like, it doesn't.
Well, then my question is, like, what are they trying to tell you? Like, why are they trying to get your attention like that? Why are they doing that? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Sounds to me like it wants her to leave.
Yeah, get out.
But
it's my room.
Yeah, no, I've had a lot of that stuff. Like, without mentioning a lot of names, I lived with a friend of mine, and her basement itself was very haunted.
Yeah,
basements. Basements it is. So let me tell you this quick story. Her daughter was about 1 year old at the time, and we're all down in the basement, and she points over to the washer and dryer, and she's saying hi, talking to somebody. And her mom says, "Well, who were you speaking to?" And she said, "The man." And so, of course, we were like, "What man? Like, there's nobody there." And basically, she kept pointing out the washer. And so the next day, we go back downstairs, and because we were like, "Fuck that shit, we're leaving," right? We go back downstairs, and literally, and I'm not kidding you, the washer was taken apart. Like, it literally, like, all the panels were on the floor. Like, it was completely taken apart. So whatever was there wanted them to leave.
Wow.
Well, my bedroom sat above that laundry room, right? And my friend and I were standing in my doorway, and I'm very meticulous about my hangers in my closet. So all empty hangers have to be together. And we're having a conversation talking about kind of what happened. So tell me why all of the hangers started moving in the closet, like somebody smacked the hangers. And we both looked at each other and were like, the wind my ass. Like, there's no way. Like, the creepiest thing ever. Like, that basement was horrible. They brought a preacher in. Like, they actually brought somebody in.
I thought about that.
Yeah, it was bad.
When you said wash machine, that reminded me Saturday last weekend, my wash machine, the plug came undone. And we were washing laundry at the time. I mean, it could have just shooken out. I don't know. I don't know much about all that. But with everything else going on, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we had a flood. Our whole laundry room was flooded. It still kind of has a smell to it because of that.
That's crazy.
Ooh.
And every time it happens to me, my husband laughs. I'm like, it's not freaking funny. She's going to hit me one day.
Yeah. No, I've lived in the same house since I was 9. So nothing crazy is happening.
Well, whenever my husband and I were first married, I mean, we were like a couple of years. My son was 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was 3. We moved out when he was almost 4. But we lived in this mobile home, but when we moved in, we had just lost our home due to Hurricane Rita back in 2005, and we moved into this place in 2006. But whenever we were looking at it, I remember looking up, and there was it looked like a blood stain on the ceiling. I asked about it, and the guy said it was rust, and I'm sitting there going, I don't know about
What? Rust? That's a big
From
difference.
Freaking what?
Unless it was from one of the storms that we've had. I don't know. But it's a mobile home. And this was like a mobile home that was built back in like the 70s. So it was an older mobile home.
Yeah, no, and I totally get it, because like ours is also like a mobile home from like 84, I think. But it's been remodeled and like added on to, so it's like nothing in it. There's very few things in here that are still 84, but
my daughter wasn't even a thought in my head at the time. Like, my son was little, and he had his own room, and there was a little bathroom that was attached to his room. And then we had the master bedroom with the master bathroom. And then there was a laundry room, and then the kitchen and the living room. And the living room had all these mirrors that were lined up and everything. Well, one day, me and my son, like, nothing had happened. We had been living there for like a good 3 years or 2 years or something. And nothing has ever happened. And me and my husband was at work, and it was during the day. And he's on my husband's computer playing his little preschool games, and this is MySpace era, and I'm doing my MySpace thing because I built the layouts and the stuff for the MySpace, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You know who invented MySpace, right?
Tom!
Yeah.
Sorry. Go ahead.
If you're not in the Discord, you wouldn't understand that.
You wouldn't know.
Tom's my homeboy.
Tom probably won't even get that one. But no, we were sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear a noise, and me and my son we had headphones on, took our headphones off and turned our head, and the bathroom door swinging, right? And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, you know, whatever, maybe the wind caught it, but there's no wind. So I'm just like telling myself this, right?
Yep.
Because I didn't believe in ghosts at the time. I didn't believe in none of this yet. And so we turned back around. We kept on doing our thing. And then we hear another slam, turn back around, and that door slam closed. I kid you not. I took my baby. Me and my baby went outside and sat on that porch until his daddy got home.
No joke. Like, I'm not about that life. Nope.
And my husband didn't believe us. He kept telling me that it was in our head until it happened to him. Oh, that's the story.
Oh, I bet that was like sweet though.
Oh no, we moved out 2 weeks later when it happened to him.
All right. I think that is the end of the video and our little vlog cast. That was pretty good though, wasn't it? Were you?
Yes.
Was it everything you were like hoping it was going to be?
Actually, more because I was expecting it to be the one that Nova told.
Yeah. See. Yeah. Yay! So it's different
because what I think, and I guess I can say this, but what I think that Tom was, I think that was more demonic than it was ghost.
Yes,
I mean,
it might have been.
Because
I agree.
The black shadow figures like that are usually more
demonic. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that being the place that it was, very likely.
Yeah, with all that negative that went on.
Before we wrap up then, real quick, only because you brought it up, talking about demonic. So I had to actually demand something demonic to leave my house. So my son was sleeping in the middle of the night, and we all know like what the witching hour is, right?
Mhm.
So that
3
time in the
a.m.
night, yep, between 3 and 5 a.m. Yes.
Mhm.
So um my son wakes up in the middle of the night and he's like, Mom, is like screaming my name. Now, mind you, he's older at this point in time. And I go running into his room, and I will send you guys, you ladies, a picture of this in a little bit. But he woke up and he was like, Mom, something grabbed my leg. And then we pull back the sheets, and there are 3 little literal claw marks down his leg.
Yeah.
No.
I promise you,
My
I'll send
son
you the
said those.
picture.
Yeah, I know all
So,
about
That's
that.
crazy.
yes. So I had to like, and what was really strange about it is I never really got into any of that stuff, and I don't know what happened. My mom has since passed, but I was laying in the bed the next day, like kind of like taking a nap, but all of a sudden I got out of my bed and started like went to his room. I opened the window in his room and started saying things I've never said, like really like knew about saying, but demanded for whatever this thing is to leave my house. Open my window, and when I was done saying whatever it was I was saying, I don't even remember. It was like, talking about like pure like lights, and it was weird. I didn't even know what to say, but I was saying things and
Yeah,
demanded for whatever to leave my home. Closed my window, and do you know we never had another problem again?
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was
That's
very weird.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
have heard that if you open up one window, only one window, when you sage the house, that's supposed to happen too.
Yes, and see, I didn't even sage, but it was just the one window I opened and was saying whatever. It was really weird. I can't even explain it. It was almost like that mama bear type of like
Yeah,
possession that comes over you, but like my mom was really into that kind of thing. And
yeah,
so, and she has since passed, and I've always felt like my mom has protected the house. So,
yeah.
because when we talk about like
Damn.
paranormal stuff, like there was one
Mhm.
day I was getting ready to leave, and this was since my mom has been passed, and I was getting ready to get into my car, and all of a sudden my garage door opens all on its own. And I'm getting ready to get into my car, which is in the driveway. And I thought that was the weirdest thing. So now I'm calling into the house, like, did somebody open the garage door? Did somebody need something? Everybody's like, no, no, it wasn't me, wasn't me. So I'm like, okay, so this is weird. So I get the dog into the car because I was trying to bring him with me. And then all of a sudden, the garage door closes on its own. And I was like, what the hell was that? And literally moments later, there was a car crash. You could hear it happen just up the road.
Oh
So
wow.
before I would have left. So it was, I got
That's
goosebumps telling
crazy.
that story. So it was
Oh
almost
my
like I
gosh.
felt like my mom made me stop
So
Right.
you
because
wouldn't be the one in that
in
crash.
that
Oh
Yeah,
car,
my gosh.
yeah,
That's
that gave me
crazy.
goosies.
yes,
Yeah.
me
No,
too.
and
I got,
that's true because like sometimes I'm in a hurry to go somewhere and I'm just like, I'm gonna go,
Hmm.
whatever. But this one particular time, I was just like, no, I'm gonna let this person go before me. And that's why I let them go before me. And this is when I was living in an apartment and I was leaving this convenience store and the light turned green and she started going left and the person like ran the red light and smashed into her. It would have been me if I would have gone first.
Oh
But I
wow.
let her go first. Just
yep.
and I normally I'm like boop all the way around, right? Like I'm not trying to wait for anybody. I'm impatient. I'm ready to go. But in this case, I was like, no, I'm gonna let this person go before me, and then she
The
ended up
one
getting hit.
time you're nice.
I know
Yeah.
she got hit.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know
I
if
know.
this is more about her,
It's not
like
funny. It's
more
not
about
funny.
me or
Yeah.
like,
Well, what we
oh,
should
I don't know how I
do.
avoided that situation, but that's what happened.
Well, I would like to like, take a quick poll, like leave down in the comments if you guys would like to hear more content like this, because we could
Yeah,
always give some more
I have a lot
stories.
of stories.
Yeah.
So that way, because we could go on probably all night, so we could break it up into its own segment. If you guys would like that, leave, like, comment, subscribe, but leave something down in the comments for us, or if you have another
Yeah,
scary story that you want us to take a look at, leave that
Yep.
down in the
yeah.
comments. I would love to do some more about this topic. I could go on about it all night.
Oh,
Maybe you have a
absolutely.
favorite paranormal investigator you would like us to check out too.
Yeah,
Sometime.
absolutely. We're
That'd be
always
cool.
looking for new content. Like we're kind of just winging it at the moment. So if you have anything you want to see or hear from us, let us know. It doesn't even have to be scary stories. It can be just about anything. We're here to talk
Yeah.
about it. So
Murder
Awesome.
mystery.
Sounds great to me.
Something.
yeah, I'm ready for it. That was a good one though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that one
yeah.
was a good one.
I
I had
love
fun
that
with it.
story.
That was fun.
And there was
Tom
some parts of it
touches-
that I forgot actually even. So
anything Tom touches is a good one.
always Thomas coming through. All right. Well, that is it for our first podcast, vlogcast.
Yay.
Tom McDonald Scary Stories.
It's about time we do one. Huh?
I know. It's about time. Hopefully he'll come out with some more because he said he had more. He was going to come out with more. So
I'm ready
hopefully
for it.
we'll see
Let's do
that.
it. I
But,
won't skip them this time, Tom. We'll do it here.
For real. So yeah, and if anybody else has any other scary stories they want us to watch or listen to, please let us know down below in the comment section. Other than that,
Subscribe to your girls.
Have a good night. Peace out.
Tova, Carol, and Deadhead out of the closet. That was good.